Hey guys, how's it going? So I hope you're well wherever you are. It's your boy P.L.C here, back in another video. I thought of making a video like this on Wednesday, but I thought of making two versions, but I thought I'd probably be repeating a lot of what I say on Wednesday today. So as Celtic are playing today, I thought I'd make this video. But yeah, so basically the idea is, well, the goal is to encourage as much investment into Celtic FC as possible. So here are some ideas about how I hope to encourage investment and who I hope to invest in the club and own shares or co-own the club and that sort of thing. Invest into, have shares in, co-own the club and that sort of thing. So I hope you enjoy this video, especially if you're a football fan, and particularly if you're a Celtic fan. Can't imagine many Rangers or other fans would enjoy it. But as ever, I'd love to hear your opinions or views. As I say, free speech, so please post whatever you want in the comments, and I'd appreciate any constructive criticism, advice, guidance, or preferably even positive comments like that, and sharing it and support the video. Anyway, here goes. So number one, I would love for the fans to invest in the club, possibly to have shares in the club. And I'd also, I forgot to say in the intro, I also think it'd be important for, I think the group Celtic shared is actually in response to what happened sort of the season before last with Celtic, when it went really wrong with under Neil Lennon. So sorry for any of my regular viewers who don't, I know I don't have regular viewers, but whoever subscribed to me who doesn't follow football, I do apologise to you. But yeah, for those who do follow football, and especially Celtic, of course, I hope to have as many views as possible, of course. But yeah, sorry, trying to get to the point. But yeah, for the season that went really wrong, the season before last, before we appointed the great N.G.O.s, when we had Neil Lennon, I think I said Martin Neil, but I meant Neil Lennon. When things went wrong, there was like Celtic Shared was founded to sort of say, I think the message behind that was that the club needs to connect with the fans, which I think they have been doing, thankfully, a bit more of. So I think we should give them credit now a little bit, considering we were very harsh on them before as a fan base. I say we as a fan base. Anyway, so I think it'd be great for the fans to co-own some of the club. And I probably shouldn't mention some of these ideas, but I know I made a few ideas before, probably very naive ideas, and I know I got slagged, as they would say in Scotland, by fellow Celtic fans. But I said like things like having GoFundMes and crowdfunding. That's when I said I wanted, I thought that'd be a good idea to keep Odds and Edward at the club, but it's probably best to let players go if they don't want to be part of the club. But yeah, another idea I had was like a bank account, special bank account, where the money was put in and like that would be set aside for what the club's going to spend. It probably does have its own account. Maybe I'm being naive, but I thought a special bank account, whatever money's in there, the club would have guaranteed to reinvest that. So 10% would go, as far as according to my plan, 10% would go towards buying better players, even better players, because at the moment we're doing well, but I don't want to be complacent. It's another thing I forgot to say in the intro. 10% would go into buying, into investing in youth infrastructure, academies and things like that. And 10% would go into like marketing and branding, whatever other costs a club has, and then 10% into the foundation. So 30 or 40% we invested back into the club, and the remaining 60 or 70% would go towards repaying back shareholders and dividends or whatever. I'm not that great at business, so but yeah, so something like that would encourage investment. Anyway, moving on. Point number two. Again, I'd love to hear what you think about each of these ideas. Hopefully, it won't be too harsh, but I'll try and take it on the chin and get used to any constructive criticism. I'll say all comments welcome. Anyway, moving on. Sorry for waffle. Number two, I would love to look into ways to encourage as much investment into the club as possible. I'd love for banks and businesses to invest in the club as much as possible. Number three, I would love for Celtic, again, apologies for repeating myself, but I know I've mentioned this before, but I would love for Celtic to be to connect with Celtic or even Gaelic countries and political parties like Sinn Féin, Fianna Fáil. Apologies if I butcher the pronunciation. My English pronunciation is not that great either, so let alone my Gaelic or Celtic pronunciation. But yeah, Sinn Féin, Fianna Fáil, how to pronounce it, and other Irish or Scottish or Welsh political parties, again, Celtic or Gaelic ones especially, and the SNP even, and Plaid Cymru, especially SNP even, and also connecting with Celtic countries, as I put it with my alliteration, CC, Celtic countries. I know most people call them Celtic nations, but I call them Celtic countries generally. But yeah, to connect with those, and I would love for Celtic and Gaelic political parties to offer like tax exemptions for Celtic as much as possible, to pay the least amount of taxes possible legally, the key word being legally, but yeah, also paying the least amount possible, and also that would hopefully encourage investment. I hope to come to in part 3 about how I think that's important for like reparations, as the Irish community, the Irish diaspora, was treated so badly. So anyway, apologies if I waffle, as I say, but yeah, I would love for them to work together on that, and like look at state aid, like governmental support, especially with what Celtic contributes to the local community, and the fact that Glasgow is quite deprived, and how they can get young kids in Glasgow, especially into football, which will keep them out of crime and help them with health and improve diets and things like that, and offer advice and coaching and things like that in football, which hopefully again will include diets and things like improving diets. And if it stops people from drinking or smoking or taking drugs, or all three of those things, and committing crimes as well, then I think that would be pretty cool as well. So yeah, I hope to look into ways like also getting lottery funding, I nearly forgot to say. Number 4, I would love for sovereign wealth funds, S.W.F.s, including possibly the PIF, to invest in Celtic and have like shares in the club. Number 5, also Fortune 500 companies. Number 6, to have as many sponsors, as many investors, sponsors, partners, and that sort of thing as possible, including Italian football teams, possibly to have like a partnership, as I'm a fan of both Italian football and Celtic. So hopefully they'll work together towards shared goals, both financially and on the pitch, on and off the pitch, including like Celtic could help the Italian national team to train to become as good as possible and as successful as possible on the pitch, as well as marketing and things like that, and also like club teams, Serie A or even Serie B or lower league club teams, and even grassroots club teams and like non-league teams could train with Celtic, and hopefully it'll be a mutual benefit. But yeah, I'd love to see, as I say, as much investors, sponsors, partners, and that sort of thing as possible, investing into a club, as I say, buying better players, even better players, I should say, because at the moment we're doing well, but I don't want to be complacent, and also investing in academies and marketing and branding, and having supporters clubs and academies all around the world, including in developing countries and including possibly even Italy as well as Glasgow and across Scotland. Number 7, again, a partnership with Italian football and as many partners and sponsors as possible, and that sort of thing. Number 8, possibly even people of colour and anti-white supremacist groups, because I think Rangers, our rivals, have a problem with white supremacy, and with the work Celtic does, and that's a controversial view, sorry, but with the work Celtic does in tackling extremism, white supremacy and things like that, and hate and things like that, I think, and the fact that Celtic were like the Celts from Ireland were victims of hate and things like that, and racism and prejudice, I think it'd be great for people of colour and anti-hate campaigners to support Celtic, and also, like as I say, the fans to have like to donate to the club and have as much shares in the club as possible and that sort of thing. Number 9, I think it'd be great, as I say, to have like improved marketing and branding, and like poets, authors, writers, creatives, inventors, architects, engineers, entrepreneurs, and all sorts of people for Celtic, like hashtag artists for Celtic and things like that, for instance, and to like create poetry and writing and art and that sort of thing for the club, as well as other creative ways to market and brand the club. And hopefully, like by Googling Celtic, hopefully it'll help the club to go viral and trend and that sort of thing, to trend and go viral, and that sort of thing. Number 10, again, I think it'd be great if the fans donate to the club. I was thinking, like, let's say, even if, well, I'll say, if there's like 1 million fans or so, if we can get that too much together, or even if there's like 60,000 or 70,000 fans or whatever, or even a few thousand fans donating to the club, like even if they donate a tenner each, it all adds up. Like we did get enough to like make to get 1 million fans together to donate to the club, and like they had a special account which they knew if they put money in, or even direct debits or whatever, maybe I'm being naive again, even if they did put in small amounts like a tenner each, if that was 1 million fans, that's £10 million for the club, which they could invest in building loads of world-class youth academies around the world, for instance, or even buying a few players, especially at Scottish level. The players are not as expensive as the EPL, the English Premier League. So that could still buy even better players. I mean, at the moment, N.G.O.s has done a great job, and the club is invested well, and I think credit goes to the board at the moment, because we were we as a fan base were critical of them when they weren't doing so well. So I think we should give them praise when they do well. But there's always room for improvement, and I'm looking to the future as well and not wanting to be too complacent. So hopefully Celtic win our main game today, which is a derby. And underneath this, I'm wearing my, I don't have zips, I can't open it, but I'm wearing my Celtic top, which I don't know if you can tell, it's my first ever Celtic top, which I got for my birthday. I've never been organised enough to get a Celtic top, and I don't really do my own shopping, so I've thought about getting one, but luckily one of my sisters smartly got me one by picking up clues about what I'd want for my birthday. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling, and as ever, I'd love to hear your opinions, and I'm out. Peace and love.